everyone, welcome to Against the Grain. This is our second video. Again, my name is Michael.
I'm Bianca.
This week we're pretty much going to talk about multiple things, whatever comes to mind. First thing we're going to talk about is self-esteem. Before we really go into that, I do want to discuss some of the things, highlight some of the things we talked about on the previous video where we talked about against the grain, what it means to go against the grain, different definitions, different examples that we have. Um, we talked about discipline. We talked about
Consistency.
consistency. We talked about obedience. We talked about honoring your mother and father,
Honor
um,
and leadership.
honor and leadership. Um, we pretty much touched about the challenges and what it means to go against the grain. Some of the things that we go through as we try to become different. Trying to be different, trying not to fit in to society. Or just standing out to be able to make a change later in life.
Right.
And so, today we pretty much just going to talk about self-esteem. We think that self-esteem is one of the important things that's major in being different. Because after you break away from society's definition, you have now created a definition about yourself.
Right.
And self-esteem is one of those things that's very important that influences your definition about yourself. So first, we're going to start off with asking Bianca, what is self-esteem?
So I have the dictionary, Webster version. It says a realistic respect for or favorable impression of oneself, self-respect. So basically, they're saying you have to have a realistic respect for yourself. So it's a confidence, knowing who you are, accepting your flaws, and not don't go into society thinking that you have to fit in. Because I believe that within our generation today, we have to fit in. It show, bodies, booties, everything. Like if you don't have that, you're not it. You're not going to be able to be loved, or you're not going to fit into a certain group. But it's more about knowing who you are in spite of your flaws. So I would say that's self-esteem.
Right, and self-respect is very important because, like Bianca said, your flaws, you have to learn how to accept your flaws for what they are. Like this is what it is. You are who you are.
Can I say one
Go
thing?
ahead.
Sorry.
Hmm.
Dressing is really important. Like you said, we know we all have flaws. And if you're respecting yourself as a woman, I'm speaking on the woman's behalf,
Okay.
you have to be able to know how to dress yourself in a way that, so when somebody looks at you, or even when you, number one, when you look at yourself, that you have that confidence and, that respect
Hmm.
that, I'm covering myself, I look nice, I don't have to show everything. So, I can walk out the door and be okay with that. But some people, I think that, they try to show more so that they can get, noticed or whatever it is. But honestly, the more time you take, looking within is important. That's number one, to look within
Hmm.
and realize that no matter what, you're beautiful. But on top of that, to dress the part to who you are. Be who you are. You don't have to dress
Be
like
who
everybody
you
else.
are.
But dress, your body shape, whatever it may be. You don't have to have all of that stuff hanging out
Hmm.
to be noticed or to be accepted.
Right.
So I would say, go ahead.
I agree. I think that when it comes to self-esteem between different genders, I think that men suffer with self-esteem issues different than women. I
Yes.
think a lot of our self-esteem issues are inwardly, and females' self-esteem issues are outward. They suffer with the external, and men suffer with the internal. Women focus more on the outside and how they look and their appearance when it comes to their hair, their face, their shape. While men, we focus more so what's inward. Who we are as a man, who we are in society. Are we important? Can we make a difference?
Right.
And I think the challenge when it comes to men with trying to have a good self-esteem um, is feeling a part of something, or feeling of like you can make a change in society, that you can do something bigger and better.
Right. Right.
Self Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Self-respect is very important. I like how she covered that, how she used that as a definition, because when you have to learn how to respect yourself, and respecting yourself is accepting who you are,
So
and loving yourself. Mhm.
Like Michael said, it's a difference between men and women, how we handle, self esteem.
Mhm.
Some of us have low self esteem and we carry it. You can tell when somebody has low self esteem, they put their head down. That is one thing I have an issue with putting my head down, and that shows that you have lack of confidence in who you are.
Mhm.
And for me, I would say I'm still learning who I am in God, because everything else outside of that would just be, to be accepted from the world, and that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I want to do. So I would say that, that's when women put their head down, or they're just not really, understanding who they are in God. It shows.
Mhm.
It really does show. And I feel like let's just say today on Facebook, I put a status up with my picture with no makeup on. That picture wasn't to say, oh, I don't have no makeup on,
Mhm.
I'm still beautiful, whatever, it was. But I put it up there because I realized that sometimes low self-esteem and the outer appearance can take over, you know, how God sees us, how people view us. We dress up, we do all those things, but inside we have struggles, we have
Right.
low self-esteem.
Mhm.
And I just felt like today, I didn't want that. Like, I just wanted to show who I am, and just go in the house of God and praise God, because it's a distraction. It can be a distraction because you're trying to dress up, you're trying to be this person, you're trying to make everybody see who you are. Oh, she's flawless, makeup, all this stuff, but that's not what it's about. It's accepting who you are, flaws and all. Like Michael said, flaws and all, in spite of those things that you may feel about yourself. God still loves you. Just know that God still loves you in spite of. The number one issue I had growing up was people looking at me in a way where it was like they pointed out everything, my big eyes
Mhm.
or my gap. Everything was, and every time we had a problem, when I was younger, you joke on each other, oh, your gap, your eyes, whatever. But those are the things that make you beautiful, and I
Mhm.
accept it now. Like, I used to never really smile or do too much. Now I just don't care. So I just think that, just accepting those things and really just allowing yourself to think outside of the box, and not always feel like you have to fit in the category with other women, because we're all different. God made us all different. We're all fearfully
Right.
and wonderfully made. So,
Absolutely, and I definitely agree, and I can that definitely vouch. Me growing up, also people always, kids can be harsh.
yeah, very
And,
harsh.
when you growing up, people say things that hurt you, and they pull out your flaws. We all have flaws.
Yes,
They have flaws too when they point out my flaws.
right.
But it's something that happens to someone when someone takes their flaws and isolate them and create a definition of that person based off only that flaw.
Right.
No, I'm so many other things. I'm not just that flaw. That flaw is one of the things that's been painted on the canvas of my personality,
Right.
or painted on the canvas of this body. And reason why a lot of people suffer with low self esteem is because people take that and they isolate it. And when they isolate that, that causes someone to see themselves as that and that only.
Right.
No, you're not just that flaw.
They're not just
You are
that.
so many other things, and your flaws support what's beautiful about you.
Yes.
That's how I see my flaws. They support what's beautiful about me. One thing that God said to me before was, um, I didn't send you in this world with a manual because man can't build you.
Right.
And people don't have the book or the instructions or the manual for you.
Right.
So who are they to say who you are, or you know or to say what you need to be doing, what you don't need to be doing? Like, people always have their opinion about you, but only God can create who you are, because he created you with a purpose on his mind. Nobody else has that purpose in their mind. Nobody else know what you was created for. You have to learn to accept who you are with your flaws and all. And that doesn't just mean just stay the same.
Right.
Accept who you are and then become better.
And then build.
And then
Right.
build off of that foundation.
Right.
If you never accept who you are and you're trying to make yourself better at the same time without first accepting who you are, you're building on nothing.
Right.
You're building on sinking sand. But when you just accept who you are with your flaws, then you can build on that. You have a base. You have a foundation.
That's true.
Confidence is very important. You know, you have to be confident in who you are. You know, just know that you are somebody and that you are important. It amazes me when I see people who are born with a default, or you know, a missing arm or a missing leg, or you know, some catastrophic event that happened in life caused them to lose a limb. They still walk around with confidence.
Right.
But how do they walk around with better confidence than we do when we have every member
All
of our
functions.
body,
Right.
every function? Is it going to have to take for you to lose something for you to begin to realize who you are?
Hmm.
You
That's
have to
good.
know who you are, why yet you still are strong.
Right.
You
That's
know, and it's very important. And they teach us these things. You know,
yeah. That's
anything
good.
else you want to cover on self-esteem?
Um, we were talking about confidence,
Mm.
and I think that confidence for a woman is based off of how other people see you. And I would say to all women, get that out your head, because that's been banged in our head. I can say since I was younger. Confidence, how other people see you, how you got to carry
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And I feel that it's about how you feel within. It's all about how you respect yourself, how you feel within, and how you're able to take that confidence and allowing it to shine. And yes, other people are going to see that. So, don't allow what social media, or if you don't got those Louis Vuittons, or if you don't got all of that expensive stuff,
Right.
you know that you're nobody
Right.
because of that. Confidence is not based off of material things, about what you're wearing, because I always had to have something to put on
Mm-hmm.
brand new, so that I can feel that I'm a part of this society, this group of women that men look at. And it's always based off of, I think a lot of us, we're not confident because of our fathers, some of us, and them not pouring into us the way they should have. But, at the end of the day, you have to realize that God is our Father, and you have to accept what He says about you. I'm just going to keep on saying that because it's important. Like, if you have self esteem issues, or if you're struggling, go to God about it. Don't go to your girlfriend, because your girlfriend, all she want to do is try to get your hair, your nails done, the typical
Yes,
things,
the
just
typical
to make
thing.
yourself,
Right.
feel. But you're not confident inside. You still don't feel confident, but you're putting on this persona.
Right. And
So that's
Beyonce said it like this. She said, "Pretty hurts,"
right.
and she said, I don't remember verbatim of what she said, but she said, "It's the soul that needs the surgery."
Right.
You know, it's not.
She spoke a word.
She spoke that
She
word.
spoke that word.
It's not about the outward appearance. It's about the inside.
Right.
You know how one thing I learned about in psychology was 2/3 of what you see is inwardly.
Right.
You know what you see is based off of your 2/3 of what you see is based off your mind and your perspective. 1/3 of it is actually reality.
So would you say when you see people walking down the street and
Hmm.
they're dressed like with every color on their body, hair different colors, head shapes, whatever, is that something that you would say that they're expressing something from the inside coming out, and that's their own way of being able to express themselves, is through what other people can see, like through clothes, through shaving their head. I see that a lot down South Street. When we
Hmm.
go down there, we see a lot of people. You're just like, whoa, but we don't know. That's their only outlet. Some people.
It seems like that they go to the extreme.
Right.
It's a possibility that that person may be actually, you know, feeling like there's stages to after once you realize who you are and that you are an individual. That person, I believe, actually realized like I can do something that everybody else is not doing. Let me dye my hair purple because I can do that.
Right.
I'm free
It's a
from
freedom.
society.
It's a
Yes,
freedom.
I'm free from what people think about me, or I don't have to have my hair this way. I don't have to dress this way. So they kind of go to this extreme first because now they're released
Right.
from what people think about them, and then there's stages after that where now you begin to realize, oh, I don't really have to go to that extreme to really, because it's really not about the outside, it's
Right.
about the inside.
Right.
So now let me create something that's extreme about who I am
Right.
inwardly, and then there's different stages to when it comes to that when someone breaks away from when they begin to go against the grain, and because when you first go against the grain you begin to create your own definition of who you are,
Right.
You don't fall under the definition of everybody else. Um, that's why it's very important to have some good people in your life
Right.
so they can be able to speak positivity into you and begin to steer you in the right direction.
Right. I
And
agree.
that's a very paramount time in people's life when you first break against the definition of society or when you begin to go against the grain.
Right.
You know, because it's hard to find out who you are. It's very hard to
So
find out who
true.
you are as an individual.
That's true.
You know, I'm definitely in a place in my life where, me and Bianca talked about a couple of weeks ago, remixing your life.
Right.
You know, I just really feel like that I need my life remixed. You
Right.
know, when you remix a song, it doesn't really take out the content of the song, doesn't really take out the context of the song, but it sounds differently. It becomes relevant to that age or to
Right.
those ears at that time. You
Right.
know, we can remix a song by Patti LaBelle. You pretty much taking that song that appealed to the people at that time to making it into a sound that appeals to the people now. And I really need my life to be remixed because I want to now I want to appeal to this age or this time or this now culture or this now season. I don't want to go out of date. You know, I want things in my life where I feel like that I need to really start doing things differently to
Right.
bring some excitement to my life.
Right.
You know, so
Excitement.
excitement.
Mm. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's good. That was good that you said that. I'm
Why you said it?
I just think that's a good point.
Right. Excitement. I
I'm gonna
mean,
move outside of that excitement word and that remix a little bit.
uh-huh.
And when you touch on the fact that you know how you want to have that freedom to express yourself, you just kind of push past that and just like whatever. Like I want to express myself, shave my head, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be my own individual.
Own individual, and
You
that's
want
why
to
people
be
go to the
your
extreme.
own individual, and
Right.
that's why you see people like you just can't look at people and think that that person is crazy.
No.
Maybe they have struggled with fitting in. They don't want to
Yes.
fit in,
They
so
don't want
that's
to.
why they do that. They shave their heads. They do whatever they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always been that way. Even when I had hung out with a group of girls, even though I did like I still felt separate from them. And even though I had, right now I'm not in, that circle or whatever the case may be that people would think that, oh, that is the cool group or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at this point in my life that it's what God says and what He wants me to do. It's hard. Who He wants me to be, and that's it. That's who I go to try to figure out who I am. And then you got friends, like you said, to validate, to lift you up, to encourage you. If you're doing wrong, if you have people in your life that are expressing to you,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you're doing something wrong, and you want that validation, like just be careful, because if you know you're doing wrong and you're going against the grain in a different way, you just have to really be mindful of who's in your company,
Who you surround yourself
who
with.
you surround yourself with. It goes with being confident, your self-esteem, everything like that. Because if I'm confident and I'm all everything, whatever, and I'm cool, but my friends are down and out, what does that say about me? That says something different about my character. And I think character, integrity, and all those things go along with your self-esteem.
Very true. I mean, that's why the Bible says that do not sit in the council of the ungodly,
Right.
or sit in. I don't remember exactly how I would say it, but sitting in the in the seats of the
It can
scornful.
corrupt you.
It can corrupt you because the people that you are around is definitely can affect you. If they're not affecting you in a positive way, you have to separate yourself from them.
Right.
You need people around you that's going to build you up in the right way, in the right direction,
Right.
and that's influencing you positively. And I do want to go back to touch on when we first started talking. We talked about how men and women are affected with self-esteem in different ways. Men suffer inwardly, women outwardly.
Right.
They deal with the external. Men, we deal with the internal. And the thing, it's very scary for men to deal with low self-esteem because you'll never know that a man is suffering from low self-esteem.
Sure.
With a woman, you'll know because it's external. You'll begin to see it. You begin to see different things that they do. They dress to get attention, to be validated. But men, you will never know when a man is suffering from low self-esteem because the things that we suffer with when it comes to self-esteem are inwardly. Is who we are. What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to, where do I play a part in this? How can I, and we act out our behavior, we act poorly, we act, bad because we're trying to cry out for attention. We looking for somebody to say, no, you're not supposed to be that way.
Right.
This is how you're supposed to be.
Right.
Women, on the other hand, may seek external validation when we seek internal validation.
Right.
And if
People,
you are a
places,
man,
and things.
people, places, and things. And if you are a man and you suffer with low self-esteem internally, you probably don't even know you suffer from low self-esteem. Low self-esteem, because a lot of us, especially in the black community, black men suffer from low self-esteem. Why? Because we never really had a father to tell us who we was.
Right.
There's no definition of what we supposed to be and who we are. We never had someone to pass down a business to us and say, this is what you're supposed to be doing,
Right.
or build this type of skill because now you're going to take on my business. We
Right.
need somebody to do that for us.
Right.
So men, I'm there with you. I understand. We cry in the dark. Our tears are very silent. Women, you can see their tears, but men, you can't see. No one can see our tears, and it's not until we open up and say, I'm hurting. I don't know who I am. And get there before it's too late. Because when you act out and you begin to go with the grain of society and go on the streets and try to do things that putting yourself in harm's way, because what you're doing, you're really suffering from low self-esteem.
So can I ask a question? I might gonna put you on the spot, Michael.
Yes.
You should be okay.
Uh-huh.
So I remember there was something that you did on stage, and you said you didn't like the sound of your voice on video. So what did you mean by that? What was it that, did you not want to hear yourself? What was it? Because I feel the same way. Like, I can attest to that. Like, I can say I don't like the way that I sound because I don't talk proper, but I still have I don't know how to explain it. I'm going to say a little laugh flavor. That's what we're going to call it. But, why do you feel that way?
I think it definitely has to do with, I just don't, when it comes, I don't like my voice when I hear it on
Right. Me either.
on video, on over the phone, recording my voice and hearing it. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I just don't. I mean, because I already have probably already an image.
Father God, I'm telling you.
You have to break what you think it's supposed to be like.
Right.
Because if you don't break what you think it's supposed to be like, you always measure yourself
So
to that, and you
somebody
cannot
else.
become that.
Yes.
You cannot become that. I always had this. I'm glad you. I always had this thought in my head of what my voice is supposed to sound like.
Mm-hmm.
Watching TV, seeing, oh, he sounds awesome on TV. He sounds that, and his charisma is like this, and his charisma is like that. So when I hear myself, it's like, oh, I don't measure up to that.
Right.
But I need to learn to accept who I am. I need to learn to accept how my voice is.
Mm-hmm.
It's my voice.
Right.
It's self-respect. I have to respect myself, and by respecting myself and accepting who I am, I'm respecting God, because I'm respecting His creativity.
Yes.
This is the way He created me to be.
Your
This
voice.
is the way He created my voice to be. This is the way He created me to look. And I can never have a very healthy relationship with God if I cannot accept who I am first,
Right.
or
Yes.
with anybody,
Yes.
because He's the author. He
Yep.
created this. How dare I look at myself or look in the mirror and say, I don't like this? It's an insult to Him.
Right.
We have to accept who we are, accept His creativity.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm really glad you asked that question, because really, when you think about it, we take a different area of our, like, we take an image that we picked up somewhere, somehow throughout our life, and we embed it into our mind and say, we gotta look like this.
Right. We have to look
We
like
have
this.
to sound like this.
We have to dress like
We
this.
have to dress like this.
Mhm.
We have to walk like this. And you are who you
You
are.
are who you are.
Take that image and break it.
Now I want to say this. You are who you are, but be careful with that saying, because you can say, I am who I am. You know how a lot of us say, oh, you can't accept me, but there are some things that can make you ugly.
Yes.
And that's why it's important to respect yourself.
Yes.
Because you have to really evaluate yourself, evaluate the things that won't please God and that will cause people to look at you in a way where it's not, you're not attractive in a sense, and not even like physically attractive, just like they
Right.
can see those issues come out in you because you're, loud, or you're just out of character,
Right.
profanity, everything. All those things can cause you to have those other people look at you like, who is she?
Right.
She doesn't even know who she is because she's acting out. So make sure you're careful with that statement. The fact that you're saying, I am who I am, but make sure that I am who I am is validated by God.
Absolutely, and that's so important because not everything's black and white.
Right.
And having these discussions, that's very important to touch on, because what we always want to do is, and we want to encourage greatness. We want to encourage betterness
Right.
in society and community, in your home, in your family, in your friends, in your church. So we all have a conscience. We all know what's wrong.
We all know.
What's
You
right.
know.
Don't take these words that we're saying and say, "Oh, well, I'm this way. I got a nasty attitude, and this is who I am. People gotta accept that." No,
And
that's
then
not
I'ma
what
shave
we're
my
saying.
head because I'm trying to go against the grain. That's not what we're saying.
That's not what we're saying.
Right.
What we're saying is that you have to accept who you are and be better.
Right.
Always reach to become better. Always reach to become
Better.
a better person.
Yeah. I mean, I could